on Auditor General accountability of recipients of public funds Amendment Bill. And I call on Deputy Mary Lou MacDonald or Deputy Cullinane to introduce.
Sharing time, is it okay?
You're sharing the
2.5 minutes each, Ceann Comhairle. First of all, yes, I want to formally move the bill. And can I say, Ceann Comhairle, that the purpose of the bill is to give the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General the ability to audit any public monies spent by an organisation, regardless of the amount. It's very important that the state public auditor is able to chase taxpayers' money wherever that money is spent. It does not confer an obligation on the C&AG to audit the accounts of those organisations. It simply allows the C&AG, if he or she feels it is necessary, to establish if the money was spent for the appropriate purposes, that he would have or she would have the power to do so. Over the last 20 years, we've seen a massive expansion in government funding for non-government agencies, especially in the areas of health and education. We know billions of euro every year is spent on what are called Section 38, 39 organisations, and we have seen a litany of scandals, not just in some of those areas. The vast majority of them we have not, and are very good at spending taxpayers' money, but a small percentage of them, as we know, we have seen real difficulties. So our position is that if people in the private sector want to act abusively with their money, that's a matter for them and it's not a matter for the state. But if there are organisations who are misusing public money, and even if their funding is, public funding is below 50%, that should not mean that the state public auditor should not be able to chase that money, but that is the case at the moment. So what this bill does is allows the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General, in any situation where any public money is put into a public or private organisation, that the Comptroller and Auditor General's office is able to follow the public money only. It doesn't mean that he or she would be able to examine issues in relation to how the private money is spent, but if any public money is spent, then the office would be allowed to do so. And I'm sure you would agree, Comhairle, in the spirit of accountability and transparency, and at a time when we have had so many scandals in relation to the spend of public money, that this would be a useful tool and a useful power for the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General to have.
Deputy MacDonald.
Gurmai, good Ceann Comhairle, and I too, along with Deputy Cullinane, am very pleased to move this simple yet, I believe, important piece of legislation that can, if enacted, strengthen good governance, accountability and the public interest within all organisations in receipt of public monies. And I see no reason as to why this legislation would not be supported by government and indeed by everybody here in the Dáil. Ceann Comhairle, as a member of the Public Accounts Committee now for some years, I've seen at first hand the enormous value of the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General. Both the C&AG and the Public Accounts Committee have exposed poor governance in various organisations in receipt of very substantial amounts of public monies. And oversight, as we know, keeps organisations right, be they big or small. And there is a particular responsibility on the state to ensure that all public monies are spent appropriately and to the maximum benefit of the people. It is, after all, the people who entrust any government of the day to collect and to administer their monies to the collective benefit of all. That's why the work of the C&AG and the Public Accounts Committee is so central to the oversight of general public administration. By chasing the money, people can be assured the necessary checks and balances are in place to protect their money and their public services, the services that they rely on. Yet, under existing legislation, the Comptroller and Auditor General can't always follow the money. This restriction is imposed on him or her by law and by us politicians, and it simply makes no sense. It's only served to undermine the public's confidence in the much-needed services Section 38 and 39 organisations deliver on behalf of the state. Services that our most vulnerable people rely on that might not otherwise be available to families, be it in mental health, disability supports, workplace training or indeed rehabilitation. The bill that we move today seeks to set to right this wrong. It enhances the principle that all public monies are subject to the same scrutiny, regardless of the organisation's size or funding composition, when in receipt of the public's cash. To complement this legislation, Ceann Comhairle, Sinn Féin also provided an additional budgetary allocation for the Comptroller and Auditor General in our alternative budget document to assist that office in the expanded role we envisage for it. And can I say, they're under pressure even as it stands. Government must learn from the mistakes of the past, and I think all of us from whatever party, and indeed from none, must enable the C&AG to fulfil its role within the public administrative system. Departmental bodies such as the HSE must in turn address the shortfalls in their internal oversight policies and procedures. This is how we, as elected representatives, protect the public purse and deliver first-world public services to the highest standards of delivery, of accountability and of oversight.
Thank you very much, Deputy.